Hi, I'm Daniel, and today I want to tell you why this number represents an incredible human achievement. So it's been a little while since I've posted a video. I think it's been a little over a year at this point. And if you subscribed in the year between my last video and this one, thank you. I really appreciate the subscription, and I never expected to reach 1,000 subs, so I really appreciate all of you. I'll get into the video in a second, but very quickly I wanted to just explain why I've been away. Lots of life stuff happened between now and the previous video, and one of those things was I finished my PhD dissertation, which I basically had to restart at the beginning of last summer. And so now I've finally finished my PhD, which was a lot of work, and that's why I haven't posted videos, because I didn't have time or energy to work on both of those things at once. But even though things are still busy, I'm hoping that now that I've finished all this, that I'll be able to start posting videos a little bit more regularly. And I'm especially encouraged to come back and find that I have over 1,000 subscribers. So again, thank you all. So let me explain why this number that I showed you a minute ago is amazing. And to do that, I need to explain something about perfect numbers. So perfect numbers are a category of number that was identified by the ancient Greeks. Now, the ancient Greeks, of course, were obsessed with number, and this was especially true of the Pythagoreans. But a lot of the ancient Greek mathematicians were aware of perfect numbers and a few other number categories. Euclid, for instance, mentions perfect numbers in his Elements, and another Greek mathematician by the name of Nicomachus or Nicomachus, who was born in 60 AD, that sort of places him for you, he identified 3 categories of number, and these are not original to him, but he lays them out pretty clearly. And this is what they are. They're superabundant numbers, deficient numbers, and perfect numbers. So a superabundant number is a number whose factors add up to more than the number itself. Okay, so 12 is an example, 60 is another example. So in the case of 12, the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. We don't count 12, okay? But if you add those numbers up, you get 16, which is way more than 12. In the case of 60, it's even more dramatic because the factors of 60, if you take them together and you add them up, again, not counting 60, you get 108, which is way bigger than 60. Deficient numbers work in the opposite way. So 10 is a deficient number because the factors of 10, again, not counting 10, are 1, 2, and 5, which is 8. And that's less than 10. And similarly, 25 is another very deficient number because its factors are only 1 and 5. Which is 6, which is way less than 25. So that's superabundant numbers, that's deficient numbers, and Nicomachus was really freaked out by these, and he called superabundant numbers like these freaks of nature, and he compared them to like an animal being born with like an extra limb or something. Like just this weird, this really freakish image. And similarly, he compared deficient numbers to like an animal missing an arm or a leg or something, right? Or missing its head. Again, really grotesque images, but it tells you how these people thought about these numbers. Now, perfect numbers, on the other hand, well, they're perfect. And the reason that they're perfect is that their factors add up to the number itself. Exactly. So 6 is the first perfect number we have because its factors, 1, 2, and 3, add up to 6. The second perfect number is 28 because its factors, 1, 2, 4, 7, and 14, add up to 28. And that's really amazing. Now, the ancients were aware of only 4 perfect numbers, although they suspected that more of them existed. And the 4 that they knew were, of course, 6, 28, and then 496, and 8,128. Now, these numbers were all discovered by essentially trial and error, which sounds so exhausting. And in the centuries that followed, especially in the Middle Ages, more of these perfect numbers were discovered. You would think that because the first 4 perfect numbers go 1 digit, 2 digits, 3 digits, 4 digits, because it's 6, 28, 496, 8,128, you might expect that the 5th perfect number would have 5 digits. It doesn't. It's way bigger than that. And I'll put it up on the screen right now because I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it's big, okay? And you can see why I can't remember it off the top of my head, because it's a large number. Okay, now, all of this changed, or at least the difficulty of finding the perfect numbers changed a bit in the 18th century when Leonhard Euler, the great mathematician, proved that there's a connection between Mersenne primes and perfect numbers. A Mersenne prime is a prime number that can be written as a prime power of 2 minus 1. So that means that if you want a formula, it's 2 raised to the p power, where p is a prime number, minus 1. So 7 is a Mersenne prime because 7 is 2 to the third power. 3 is a prime number. That gives you 8, right? Minus 1 gives you 7. So 7 is a Mersenne prime. Now, that might not seem all that interesting, but you have to realize that Mersenne primes are very rare. In fact, they are as rare as perfect numbers. For example, it might seem obvious at first glance that 2 to the 23rd power minus 1 is a Mersenne prime. I mean, it actually comes out to be 8,388,607. That's not a prime number. It ends in 7. It might look like a prime number. It's not. Actually, its factors are 47 and 178,481. And by the way, I figured that out using a Python script because I just didn't have the patience to factor that one by hand, which again tells you the tremendous amount of patience people had in the ancient world and in the Middle Ages figuring out what the factors of these huge numbers were. I mean, it's really a big deal. So anyway, here's what Euler proved, okay? He proved that for a given Mersenne prime number, a perfect number exists in the form 2 raised to the p minus 1 power times 2 raised to the p power minus 1. Okay, so let's see how this works, right? So for example, if p equals 3, our given, or I should say our Mersenne prime is 7, right? As we saw a minute ago. And the corresponding perfect number, if you run through this formula, is 28. Now, this connection between Mersenne primes and perfect numbers was a huge breakthrough, as it meant that rather than searching for the next perfect number directly, which is exhausting, you could actually look for the corresponding Mersenne prime instead, which is a lot easier to do. And then you could use the formula that we just discussed to then find the perfect number. So let's go back to that number I showed you at the very beginning of the video. This number is the 12th perfect number. It was proved a perfect number in 1876 by the great French mathematician Edouard Lucas, who showed this number to be a Mersenne prime after spending 19 years checking it by hand. 19 years checking this thing by hand. That's incredible. And it is the largest prime number ever proven by hand, and the corresponding perfect number is the largest perfect number which was discovered or proven without the aid of computers. It's got 77 digits. I want you to think about that for a minute. I mean, I didn't even have the patience to figure out the factors of that one number I read to you a minute ago, which was 8,388,607. And this guy had the patience not only to determine the 12th Mersenne prime, but to do it by hand. And then, of course, by discovering the Mersenne prime, he's also then the discoverer of the 12th perfect number. I mean, this is a huge deal. It's astounding what he was able to do, and the amount of patience that actually took. So after the advent of computers in the 1950s, things got a little bit easier. Actually, a lot easier. There's a lot less patience was involved. And a lot more perfect numbers were found because now, rather than having people doing the computations by hand, the computers are handling those computations. And as of the making of this video, only 52 perfect numbers are known to exist because we've only found at this point, 52 Mersenne primes. No one knows how many Mersenne primes there are. No one knows how many perfect numbers there are. All we know is that there's a 1-to-1 correspondence between Mersenne primes and perfect numbers. And these numbers, these perfect numbers, are beautiful, they're weird, and they're huge. Most of them are enormous. I mean, the ones I gave you here at the beginning are the smaller ones, but most of them are massive. The other thing, too, is we don't actually know what these numbers might even be used for. There's not a whole lot of practicality in these numbers. And so that means that these might be the closest things we have to something like ornamental numbers, numbers which can be appreciated for their beauty alone because we simply don't have a way to use them yet. Now, because they're as practical as a painting or as a symphony, that also means that most people don't even know that they exist, right? Because you're not going to learn these in school to do something with them because there's nothing to do with them. They're just there. So to celebrate these numbers, because I think that they're magnificent and more people need to know about them, I've produced a book, which I'll show you. Oh, excuse me. Okay, here we go. It's a book of perfect numbers. It's only the first 34 perfect numbers. And the reason it's only the first 34 is because you can see how many pages this has. It's got over 700 pages. Let's see, it has actually 775 pages, I think. Yeah, it's 775 pages. And it's mostly numbers. And so I don't know if the camera's going to focus, but you can see here that it's mostly just digits and pages and pages and pages of digits because these numbers are enormous. Now what I've done is I've given each number a brief introduction where I tell you who discovered the number or when it was discovered, and if there's any other information, I put that in there as well because I think that these numbers are fascinating. I also tell you how to generate the number using the p-value, so the p-value is included. Excuse me. And I also tell you how many digits are in the number. So the 34th perfect number, if I can find it here, I'll actually show you just how long this number is. This is the last one I was able to fit in this book. It's 757,263 digits long. It's this much of the book, okay? It's over 200 pages long, just this 34th perfect number, which is incredible. And as far as I know, this is a world first. I mean, no one else has been crazy enough to actually bother to print any of the perfect numbers. In fact, I've never been able to find anyone to write out any of the perfect numbers beyond the 8th perfect number. I've looked online, I've looked other places in various articles on perfect numbers, and people stop referring to perfect numbers by their digits after the 8th. After that, they use the formula. They write out the formulaic version of the perfect number using the p-value and all that, rather than actually printing the digits. So I think this is the first time anybody's ever tried to do this. My original plan was to produce a several volume set of all of the perfect numbers. Now, I had to abandon that pretty quickly after I realized that the last 3 perfect numbers alone would take 60 volumes, each with 1,000 pages. That's just the last 3 perfect numbers. So to put this in perspective, the 52nd perfect number has over 80 million digits. That's a lot of digits. So I don't think the world's ever going to see, like a 100 volume set of perfect numbers. If it does, I'm not going to be the one to do it. But here are the first 34. And if you'd like to get a copy of this book to support me and support the channel and the work that I do, there's a link in the description. I think it would make a great graduation gift. Graduations are coming up. It'd be a great gift for your favorite math teacher or your favorite nerd. It's a great coffee table book. It's a real conversation starter when somebody looks at this book and they open it and they go, well, this is just a bunch of digits. What's the point? And the point is, it's really cool. That's the point, and I hope that you agree with me. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.